Hello, good evening. Ngayon ay March 2 at ngayon ay 6:30 na ng gabi. At nais kong magbahagi, matagal ako din nakapag-vlog nitinamad. Ngayon ay gusto ko magbahagi sa inyo ng isang inspirational o isang istorya na magbibigay sa inyo sa ating lahat ng aral. Na tatlong aral ang pwede nating makuha sa istorya na ito. Ito ay nabasa ko sa isang isang inspirational na libro at aking gustong ibahagi sa inyo ngayong gabi na ito. Ang pamagat nito ay God's Blessing for Faithfulness. Matapat. Ang matapat ay pinagpapala ng Panginoon. So I would like to share this story with you. A very poor farmer, a very poor newlywed couple live in a small farm. One day, the husband made the following proposal to his wife. Ako, bagong kasal, may proposal na kaagad sa asawa niya. Sabi niya, "Honey, I will leave the house. I will travel far away, get a job, and work hard in order to come back and give you the comfortable life that you deserved. I do not know how long I will stay away. I only ask one thing. Please wait for me, and while I am away, you should be faithful to me because I will be faithful to you." Dapat naman, di ba? His wife agreed, so the young man left. He walked many days until he found a farmer who needed someone to help him. The young man offered his services. He was accepted. Therefore, they discussed the terms and they agreed. Sabi ng bagong kasal na lalaki, "Let me work for as long as I want. And when I think I should go home, please relieve me of my duties. I do not want to receive my salary," di kunin sweldo. "I ask you to save it for me until the day I leave. The day I decide to go, please give me the money and I will go my way." They agreed on that. So the young man worked for 20 years without holiday and without rest. After 20 years, he came to his boss and said, "Boss, I want my money because I am returning to my home." The boss replied, "All right, after all, I made a deal with you, and I will stick to it. However, before you go, I want to offer you something new. I will give you all your money and send you away, or I will give you 3 pieces of advice and send you away. If I give you money, you lose the 3 pieces of advice. If I give you the 3 pieces of advice, you lose the money. Now, go to your room and think about your answer." He thought for 2 days. Then he went to his boss and told him, "I want the 3 pieces of advice." Pag kayo ba yun bang pipiliin nyo? The boss stressed again that if he gave him the 3 pieces of advice, he would not give him the money. The man replied, "I want the 3 pieces of advice." The boss told him, "Number 1, ito na, sinabi na yung 3 pieces of advice. Pakinggan ninyo. Number 1, never take shortcuts in your life. Shorter and unknown paths can cost your life." Remember that. Never take shortcuts in your life. Shorter and unknown paths can cost your life. Number 2, never be too curious. Huwag tayong masyadong magmamarites. For curiosity towards evil can be deadly. Number 3, never make decisions in moments of anger or pain, because when you repent, it could be too late. After giving these 3 pieces of advice, the boss said to him, "Here you have 3 loaves of bread. 2 are for you to eat during the journey, and the last is for you to eat with your wife when you get home." Bait din naman ng boss, no? So the man went his way after 20 years away from home and away from his wife whom he loved so much. After the first day of travel, he found a man who greeted him and asked him, "Where are you going?" He replied, to a distant place, which is about 20 days away if I continue walking. The man said to him, okay, boy, you are an old boy. This path is too long. I know a shortcut that is very safe and you will arrive in just 5 days. The man began to follow the path suggested until he remembered the first piece of advice. Then he returned and followed the long path. Days later, he learned that the shortcut led to an ambush. Oh, di ko sana namatay siya, no? After a few more days of travel, he found an inn by the roadside where he could rest. Pagod na. He paid for a room and after taking a bath, he lay down to sleep. During that night, he woke up as he heard a terrifying scream. He rose to his feet and went to the door to check what happened. As he was opening the door, he remembered the second piece of advice. Therefore, he returned, lay down again, and slept. At dawn, after breakfast, the owner of the lodging asked him if he had not heard the scream at night. He affirmed that he heard. Then the host said, were you not curious to see what happened? And he replied, no, I was not. Then the host said, you are the first guest to leave this inn alive. My neighbor is completely crazy. He usually shouts at night to call someone's attention. When some of the guests come out, he kills them and buries their bodies in the backyard. The man continued this long journey, eager to arrive soon. After many days and nights walking, he was very tired, but he finally saw his house far, far away. It was night. He saw some light coming out of the window of his house and was able to see the silhouette of his wife. But he also saw that she was not alone. He came closer and saw there was a man with hair. She softly caressed his hair. When he saw the scene, his heart was filled with hatred and bitterness. He decided to rush and kill them both mercilessly. However, he took a deep breath and he remembered the third piece of advice. Then he stopped, reflected, and decided to sleep outside of the house that very night. He slept in the midst of the bushes, determined to make a decision the next day. At dawn, he was calmer and thought, I will not kill my wife and her lover. I am going back to my boss to ask him to take me back. But before I go, I want to tell my wife that I've always been faithful to her. He went to the front door and knocked. When his wife opened the door and recognized him, she cried and embraced him warmly. He tried to push her away, but he was not able to do it. Then with tears in his eyes, he told her, I was faithful to you, but you betrayed me. She was shocked. So she replied, how did I betray you? I have never betrayed you. I waited patiently for you for 20 good years. Then he asked, how about the man that you were caressing yesterday? And she said, that man is your son. When you left, I discovered I was pregnant. Today, he's 20 years old. Hearing that, the man asked her forgiveness. He met and hugged his son. Then he told him all the things he had experienced while away. Meanwhile, his wife prepared some coffee for them to eat together. The last bread given by his boss. After a prayer of thanksgiving, he broke the bread. When he broke it, he looked at it. He found all his money inside. In fact, there was even more than the right payment for his 20 years of dedication and hard work. Ang bait ng boss niya. Binigyan pa siya ng magagandang aral, 3 magandang aral, at binigyan pa siya ng sobra-sobrang sweldo. So, let us remember those 3 pieces of advice and let us try to observe them in our lives as human beings na alam naman natin minsan madali tayong maniwala. madali tayong ma-curious, madali tayong magalit, at yun ay nagdadala sa atin sa hindi magandang wakas. So, let us always remember these 3 pieces of advice. God's, if you are faithful, God will reward you. And at the same time, kung makikinig ka sa payo, ikaw ay magkakaroon ng magandang bunga sa buhay mo. Bye-bye for tonight, and I hope I can still vlog na ulit. I can vlog tomorrow kasi tinatamad na rin ng matandang ito. Bye-bye, good night. This is your Lola Amalia saying, I love you all.